And now over to our consulting editor, Rajdeep Sardesai, where we talk about the unofficial ban that has been levied by the government on porn websites.
That's right. One of the stories that's making news this Monday is the government's alleged unofficial ban on porn websites. More than 800 websites, we are told, have been blocked in the last few days. Joining us now is former Information Technology Minister, former Congress MP Milind Deora, who's tweeted his protest against this ban. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Deora. You've made some very strong words on Twitter. You've said the latest ban is not about liking or disliking porn, it's about government hijacking personal liberties. What will they ban next? Phones and televisions. Are you taking a very extreme step, or do you believe the government is in the wrong?
No, I think, firstly, I think that this recent ban, like every other ban that's taken place in the last year, both at state government of Maharashtra level and other state governments and in the center, are really diversionary tactics used by the BJP and the government to deflect attention from real issues. And today, for instance, the real issues before the country are the state of the economy, state of our national security when you have terror attacks very recently in Gurdaspur and Punjab. And most importantly, the fact that Mr. Modi promised the people of India when they voted for him that he would provide clean governance, and he said na khaunga na khane dunga.
No, you're saying it's a diversionary tactic.
Changed completely, and that's why if you talk to people across the country,
yes. No, hold on. You're talking about a diversionary tactic, but what I see from Twitter is that you are protesting against the ban on porn per se. Do you believe that this ban is unworkable, unviable, or do you believe in principle you cannot ban porn sites?
No, what I'm saying, Rajdeep, is any ban, whether it's telling the censor board telling filmmakers what words they can and can't use in movies, or whether it's banning porn. Of course, child pornography has to go, and those who are uploading it or those who are producing it should be booked with the most stringent sections of the law. But any of these bans, whether it's the ban, as I said, imposed by the censor board, or whether it's the ban on pornography, which happened this weekend, I think a knee-jerk process of banning any of these things is what's extremely dangerous in a democracy like ours. I'm not in favor of the government or a bureaucrat or a minister sitting in New Delhi deciding what is right for the people of India in terms of what they can eat, what they can watch on television, what they can watch in the privacy of their homes. And I think any of these bans, especially the most recent ban on pornography, my opinion, you should have a multi-stakeholder process, a consultative process, bring different stakeholders on board, bring sociologists, bring constitutional experts. If you feel there's a law and order element to it, bring people from the law and order
Milind Deora, it's interesting.
Bring people from the technology space, because it has an internet component as well.
Sorry to intervene. It's interesting you're now saying all this, but you will well recall that when you were in power, the UPA government with Section 66A in particular tried to clamp down on internet freedom at the time. It's nice when you're in opposition that you remember freedom. I hope that if next time, if you ever come back to government, you will say the same thing.
No, Rajdeep, again, you're comparing apples and oranges, because when we were in power and when 66A was enforced and it was being misused, I admit it was being misused, it wasn't a law that was brought about by one minister or by a bureaucrat. It was a law that went through the entire consultative process. It went through Parliament. The Cabinet approved it, had a consultative process, brought it to the Lok Sabha. They sent it to a standing committee. The standing committee presented its report to Parliament, got discussed in the House, voted on in the House, and then it became a law. When we found cases of misuse, we fixed the problem immediately by giving an advisory to state governments that they cannot evoke 66A. So that's a separate issue altogether.
No, the issue is of internet freedom.
Just arbitrarily banning anything that one bureaucrat or one minister or that a certain section of people living in Nagpur decide is extremely dangerous for a country like ours. You can't tell the world that we're a banana republic and we just go about banning anything arbitrarily. I mean, even the censor board, for instance, the way they went about saying you can't say the word Bombay in movies. Why can't you have a consultative process? Why can't you bring different stakeholders together and then take a decision?
Can I tell you what one of the stakeholders, i.e. the court, said, Mr. Deora?
Public at large, and then take a decision.
Mr. Deora, can I tell you what one of the stakeholders former Supreme Court Chief Justice R.M. Lodha had observed in the case of pornography bans. He said the time has come when law should be faster than technology. The time has come when there needs to be a synthesis of law, technology and governance to control pornographic material on the internet. Do you believe that we need a law?
Well, Rajdeep, I'm not in a position to say whether, and I don't want to sort of say, I'm not a proponent or an advocate of saying it's good to watch pornography. But I personally believe, as a personal philosophy, that if you're doing something within the four walls of your own room and you have the right to privacy, and I think the Chief Justice also said that banning it would be against people's personal liberties. I think that's for people to decide what they want to watch and what they want to eat. I'm personally against the government in any country, and especially in our own country, and any government telling us what we can do and what we can't do, and what we can watch and what we can eat.
Are you saying therefore?
That's something which I'm principally against.
Saying,
and I
therefore,
find it extremely hypocritical.
Are you saying therefore, Mr. Deora, that those who are going and saying, "I've never watched porn,"
good for you, and tobacco is good, but doing all these other things is bad for you? The same government said tobacco is good for you. Members of Parliament who are sitting on the Health Committee of Parliament of the BJP said that smoking is good for you and tobacco is good for you and there's no harm in smoking. But all of a sudden they're saying you shouldn't say Bombay in movies and you shouldn't watch porn. So I'm against the hypocrisy and I'm against the principle of arbitrary bans.
Mr. Deora, before you continue to make it political, are you saying that those who say I've never watched porn are basically being holier than thou and hypocritical? Are you saying that the fact is majority of Indians within the four walls of their home will continue to watch porn whether you try and block 800 sites or not, because there are millions of sites out there which are showing porn?
Rajdeep, I can't comment on what Indians are doing and what they will do in the future, but all I'm saying is I think every Indian will agree with me whether they watch porn or they don't watch porn. Number one, that their fellow Indian, their neighbor has the right to do what he pleases as long as it's within the context of law. It's not creating a law and order issue in the confines of their own home, number one. And number two, I'm sure people will agree that it's not the government's job to arbitrarily and in a knee-jerk way enforce and tell Indians what they can eat and what they can watch, and tomorrow it could be something else. And I believe if watching pornography is bad and harmful for the people of India and it's bad for society at large, I would prefer that the government brought about a multi-stakeholder committee. They bring in constitutional experts, they bring in people who understand what its impact could be on law and order.
Do you believe that watching porn is harmful?
They bring in those who understand technology and the internet
so that they can
understand what can be enforced.
Mr. Deora, do you believe watching porn is harmful in this country? In the land of Kama Sutra, do you believe watching porn is harmful?
Rajdeep. What do you think?
I'm asking you. Today I get to ask the question.
Let me ask you the same question, Rajdeep.
I am asking the question, do you believe watching porn is harmful, yes or no?
Question. What do you think as an individual?
I believe that an individual must have the right.
As you do as an individual.
I would concede that within the four walls of the house, what you do, as long as it's not outside the purview of the law, is your choice. I am asking you the question. What does Milind Deora, former IT minister, believe? Watching porn, is it good or not?
I will not say whether watching porn is good or not. How can it? I can't say watching porn is good for you.
No, I'm saying, are you okay with people watching porn? Let me rephrase that. Are you okay with people watching porn within the four walls of their house? Do you believe there needs to be a control? Yes or no?
Personally, I agree with your personal philosophy that if someone is doing something which is in the confines of their own home, in the confines of their own room, their own bedroom, it's not my problem. If it's not creating a law and order issue, if it's not influencing society at large, if it's not creating violence, I have no problem with it at a principal philosophical level. But all I'm saying, I'm making a larger point, that it's symptomatic of this government's urging and sort of philosophy of these knee-jerk arbitrary bans on everything from movies to the kind of food you eat to today pornography. And I think that is extremely dangerous for a liberal representative democracy like ours.
Okay. We're going to leave it there, Milind Deora. You didn't answer my question though, whether you actually watch porn yourself or not. Since you on Twitter have said, I've never watched porn, holier than thou trolls, it's pretty evident from your display picture that you're telling lies, right? So you're not going to answer my question. Do you watch porn?
Rajdeep, as all Indians are entitled to a right to personal liberty, we're also entitled to a right to privacy. So I
leave it on
stand by
that.
my right to privacy not to tell you or your viewers whether I do or I don't.
Okay, I'm going to leave it at that, Milind Deora. I appreciate your joining us and being as honest as you possibly could, though in the last answer there, I found you being a little diplomatic. Thank you very much for joining us, Milind Deora. Let's take a break. The news continues with Avantika on the other side.